Good morning, everybody. I miss you all so much. In fact, I'm struggling to teach up here with nobody in the seats, no disruptions, and no feedback. It's kind of freaking me out a little bit. The little red ball is just sitting there waiting to be smashed into someone's face. So lonely, so sad. But I digress. Let's jump right into the lesson. By the way, I've been praying for you and just generally worrying about you. I know I shouldn't be worried, but I'm just want to make sure you all are doing okay and that you're safe and that you're happy and that you don't need any help. And if you do, just please tell me, don't stay silent, please. Okay, moving on. Inequalities. Now, the new hook with this is that the inequalities we're about to introduce have negative numbers. So it's going to get a little bit, or negative coefficients, so it's going to get a little different, but it's not very difficult. As you remember, inequalities, we do them the same as normal equations, just subtract one from both sides, you end up with x is greater than 2, or add one to both sides, or subtract whatever. Subtracting and adding isn't a big deal. With inequalities, it becomes a big deal when you multiply and divide, because negative numbers change everything. And let me show you. If we have 6 is greater than 5, all of you know that's true. Please tell me all of you know that's true. If you multiply by 2, 12 is still greater than 10, no problem. 12 is greater than 10. But if you multiply by -2, -12 is not greater than -10. Do you see how the negative sign changes everything? And this works for multiplication and division. So if we multiply or divide by a negative number, we have to flip the inequality. And that's the whole lesson, basically. We're just going to apply it. Okay, so that's the big thing. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, flip the inequality. Here's the info. Erase, erase. All right, example 2. It says solve and graph. And we have -3x minus 10 is greater than 8. Paul's not here with his microphone today, so if you can't hear me, I'm really sorry. I'll try to be loud. You know how I always am. Okay, so we should know right now that the first thing we need to get rid of is the 10. Remember, we don't want to deal with multiplying and dividing until the last possible moment. Deal with the addition first. So plus 10, just like adding, or just like equalities or equations, do it to both sides. So we're left with -3x is greater than 18. Okay, I hope you concur. That makes sense, hopefully. Now to get rid of the -3, what are we going to do? Yeah, we're going to divide. And we just learned that when we divide by a negative number, it makes things crazy. So keep the x, flip the inequality, and then divide. And of course, these are opposite signs, so when you divide, you get a negative. So hopefully you're remembering how to work with negative numbers. And then here's your little graph. It's not an x and y plane. Don't overthink it. We have the 0. We have the -6. It's less than, so less than goes to the left. Hopefully this is still in the shot. And so, and then it's an open circle because it's not actually -6, it's just less than -6. So there it is. Hope you like it. Even if you don't, hope you understand it. Example 3. This is going to be some distributive property stuff, which I really think you guys are getting good at. I'm just going to say that and hope for the best. Is this less than as well? Greater than. Now, with distributive property, remember the sign goes with the term. So this -5, it's not -5, it's a -5, and when you multiply, you take the negative with you. So -5 times x is -5x, and -5 times -3 is +15. We didn't divide or anything, so just keep that. And then you have 5x minus 15. Okay, hopefully you can keep up with the distributive property. I think you can. Now what we want to do, we're not used to having x's on both sides. We want to get all the x's on one side, and we want to get all the numbers on the other side. That way it'll be easy to see and be able to solve. So I'm going to take the x's on the left side just because I like that. And inequalities get weird when the x's are on the other side because you kind of have to read them backwards. If you remember, anyways, I won't confuse you. So this isn't multiplied. This is like a positive 5x and a negative 15. So if it's positive, that means we subtract from both sides. And when you subtract, that just means take the two signs, add the numbers, and keep the signs since they're both negative. I think the hardest part of anything is keeping track of signs. So be very, very meticulous. There's my word. I bet you haven't heard that in a while. Now, we want to get the 15 out of there. So subtract 15 from both sides. Remember, adding and subtracting doesn't do anything to the inequality, so just leave it. Now we're going to divide. And if we divide by negative 10, since we divide by a negative, we have to flip the inequality. And then, of course, if you divide these two, you'll see it's 3. So x is less than 3. And then, of course, less than goes to the left. Make sure whichever way you go, there's 2 arrows on that side so I know which way you went, because sometimes it just blends in. I don't expect you to like draw a 3-dimensional. I know some of you are like super great like that, but I do expect to be able to see 2 arrows. All right, so this is example 3. This is about the hardest algebra we're going to have to do for these things. So make sure if you have x's on both sides, you get all the x's to one side, all the numbers to the other side, and then you can solve. I'll erase because you can pause that video and check it out if you need to. Last example is about Marcy and she being cheap. She doesn't want to buy the shirt for $50, and I don't blame her because that's too much to spend for a shirt under 99% of circumstances. So she comes up with the idea, like if it's $30 or below, fine, I'll get it. But we want to know how much percent off it needs to be in order for her to actually buy it. So they actually gave you the equation. And what the equation is $50 minus $50 times whatever discount has to be less than or equal to $30. So this is saying the price of the shirt minus the price of the shirt times the discount has to be less than or equal to 30. And maybe you couldn't have come up with that equation, but guess what? They already did for you. But start thinking about, oh, I see how that works. Okay, stop talking. I said that to myself. So there's a 50 here. This is not multiplied by anything. This is just added, right? It's just a positive 50 chilling in front. We want to get the x by itself, so we got to get rid of the 50. Okay, so we're left with negative 50x is less than or equal to negative 20. Opposite signs, find the difference, keep the sign the larger number. Now that we have this, we can get rid of the negative 50. Negative 50, make sure to keep the sign with you. Okay, and since we divided by a negative, we gotta flip that sign. And then this reduces to 2/5, and since we're looking for a percent, because these are both positive, right? Or these are both negative, so it becomes a positive. So we end up with 40%. So it makes sense, it has to be 40% off or more for her to buy it. That's what the whole thing is. So if you understand what they're asking, it's easier. And also just be very meticulous with your signs. Please let me know if you need anything. It's like breaking my heart that I can't see you in person and ask you if you need something, because I know it's hard for some of you to reach out and ask. But please do the private messages on your homework, whatever you need to do to get my attention. All right, I hope to see you soon. I'll at least try to Zoom you soon. Have a good day.